Search for the best AI certification to take right now, and the lists mostly agree on the top pick. Microsoft's Azure AI Engineer exam, the one everybody calls AI 102. There's a problem with that answer. It doesn't exist anymore. Microsoft retired it 5 weeks ago. And it wasn't only that one. Microsoft is retiring 12 of these role-based certifications in one summer, the biggest clear out since they redesigned the whole program back in 2019. The AI exam came back with a new number and a new name rebuilt around agents. So every article recommending the old one went stale without a single word of it changing. I don't think that's a story about Microsoft. I think it tells you what these things really are. Right now, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, NVIDIA, Anthropic, and OpenAI are all selling AI certificates. Some are $100, some are closer to 1,000, some are free. So here is the question I want to answer properly. Which of these is actually worth your money and your weekends? And which ones are selling you a badge with an expiry date you didn't read? I went through the official exam guides for all of them, so stick around because the pattern underneath is more useful than any ranking. Start with the detail nobody puts in the headline: how long the thing you bought stays valid. Anthropic's Claude certifications expire 12 months after you earn them. Microsoft's expire every year unless you pass a renewal, and this summer some of them expired permanently. Amazon gives you 3 years. Google gives you 3 years on the generative AI exam. Now put that next to how fast this field actually moves. The tools these exams test get meaningfully rebuilt about every 6 months, which produces something genuinely strange when you line it up. The credentials that sound the most current are the ones that expire the fastest. The oldest, least exciting one on the list, Amazon's, is the one you keep the longest. That inversion isn't a flaw in how these exams were designed, it's the honest thing about them. An exam on a platform that gets rewritten twice a year cannot certify that you are good at this. All it can certify is that you are up to date on a specific vendor's product on a specific afternoon. So here is the line I'd write on the whole industry. A certificate can't tell you someone is good at AI. It can only tell you how recently they checked in with the vendor. That sounds harsh, but it's actually good news because it tells you exactly what to shop for. Once you stop looking for proof of skill and start looking for proof of recency, these things sort themselves into 3 very different piles. Pile 1 is where almost the entire market lives: platform exams. These test one company's product surface, and that's all they set out to do. Amazon's AI Practitioner exam is the friendliest door in: no coding, no prerequisites, and $100. Google's Generative AI Leader is aimed at the person deciding whether to buy AI, not build it. $99, no code anywhere in it. Microsoft's replacement exam is the serious one for developers. It's Python and their Foundry stack, and it's the only exam in this pile built around agents from the ground up. NVIDIA has one for people working closer to the metal on language models and the hardware they run on. Anthropic launched a whole ladder this year for exams, from a daily driver, Claude user up to a senior architect one. There's a catch on those, and it's a strange one. You register through Anthropic's partner network, so access depends on your organization, not on your ability to pay. OpenAI is the odd one out, and the most interesting. Their courses are open and free. They run inside ChatGPT and you finish with a shareable badge. But there's no proctored exam behind it yet, which means right now it certifies that you completed something, not that you passed anything. Their stated goal is to certify 10 million Americans by the end of the decade, with Walmart and Accenture already running pilots. If that lands, It becomes the default AI credential by sheer volume, and the $100 exams start looking overpriced. Here is the only advice this pile needs. Don't pick by ranking, pick the vendor your job already runs on. A platform certificate is worth something when your employer already pays that vendor, because then it maps onto work you can actually do on Monday. Take one for a cloud you've never touched and you bought a badge for a stack nobody's paying you to use. Pile 2 is the awkward one, so I'll say the awkward part directly. The knowledge in this field that actually lasts is barely certified by anyone. How a transformer moves information around, why a model makes things up, how to build an evaluation before you build the feature, what retrieval does and doesn't fix. None of that expires because it isn't tied to a product that gets renamed. And it's almost the exact inverse of pile 1. The things you can get certified in decay fastest. The things that last, nobody sells you an exam for. The closest you get are the long professional certificates, the IBM and deep learning.ai style programs, plus the free university courses. Those teach genuinely durable material and they carry much less weight with a recruiter than a vendor badge does. Which points at the real division of labor between the two piles, and it's worth internalizing. The vendor badge is a keyword. It gets your file past the filter that's scanning for the name of a product. The durable knowledge is what gets you through the conversation after the filter, where somebody asks you to explain why the thing broke. One clears the gate, the other one gets you hired. They are not substitutes and you need both. Pile 3 almost never shows up in videos about this, including until now mine. These are the governance and AI risk exams, the API's AI Governance Professional and ISACA's AI Security Management 1. They don't test whether you can build with a model, they test whether you can keep an organization out of legal trouble for using one. And here is why I'd have you at least look at them. They age on a completely different clock. Regulation moves in years, not model releases. The EU's AI Act is in force now, which means somebody at every company touching Europe is suddenly responsible for compliance that didn't exist before. Demand for that skill on LinkedIn was up around 150% in a year. They're also the best paid pile by a wide margin, with reported medians around $150,000 in the US. They cost the most $500 to $800 and up, which is part of why nobody talks about them. Read that number carefully though, because it's a job that pays, not a certificate that pays. These are for people already senior enough to own the risk conversation. If that's you, this is the least crowded room in the entire market. So, concretely, 4 rules, then I'm going to tell you something against my own interest. 1. Match the vendor your job already runs on. That's the whole selection process for most people. 2. And this is the one this video exists for. Look up the retirement date before you pay for anything. Every one of these exams has an official exam guide with a version and an effective date on it. Read that, not the ranking articles, because the articles were right when they were written and that isn't the same as right now. 3. One certificate plus one thing you actually shipped beats 3 certificates every time. Take a genuinely messy problem, build the evaluation before the solution, put the smallest working version in front of real use, and write up honestly what broke. That write-up does something no exam can. It shows the part of the work that only appears after the tutorial ends. 4. If you are senior, go read the governance pile before you buy another builder badge. Now the disclosure, because you should weigh everything I just said against it. I make and sell exam prep material for 2 of the Anthropic certifications on this list. So I have an obvious reason to tell you that certifications matter, and you should discount my enthusiasm accordingly. Here's the honest version anyway. Nobody has ever hired an engineer because of a 12-month badge. The badge gets you read. What I actually teach in those courses is how the systems behave when they fail, and that part keeps working long after the credential lapses. If you take one of these exams and learn nothing that survives the expiry date, you wasted the money, and it doesn't matter whose course you bought. So back to where we started, with the top ranked certification that quietly stopped existing. That card isn't a warning about Microsoft, it's the shape of the whole category. Platform exams are keywords with an expiry date, and used deliberately, they're a cheap and effective keyword. The durable knowledge underneath isn't certified by anyone, which means the only person who can verify it is you, by building something. And the boring regulatory pile that nobody in your feed is discussing is currently paying the most. A certificate can't tell anyone you're good at AI. It can only tell them how recently you checked in with the vendor. So check in cheaply on the stack you already work in. Then go spend the real time on the part that doesn't expire.